Some stories begin with prophecy. This one begins with a dig site under a killing sun, a boy from a hive slum, and an inquisitor who no longer needs his eyes to see. On a forgotten jungle world, Zygmunt Moloch chases forbidden knowledge. He is a member of the Cognity, a clandestine academy that grooms prodigies by psychic, eugenic, and noetic means into weapons for a hidden war. They run schools where cloning and Minecraft replace scripture and practice, and its students graduate to spread the will of the ruinous powers. To Moloch, the dig isn't archaeology, it's ordnance procurement. In his eyes, nothing is sacred, only useful, and his crew reflects it. Nung, a hulking Ogrin hefting a Korsh 50 assault cannon like a toy. Emmings, a veteran soldier cradling an alien pulse rifle with obsessive pride. Kaiband, the hard-eyed lieutenant who keeps discipline with a word. Linter, green-eyed and watchful, habitually posted at the cleft. Boros Dias, a scholar once respected, now reduced to muttering warnings into the dust. The dig itself is cut into pale stone cliffs. Insects hum around stagnant pools. Vines crawl over rusting dig machines, and the air is thick enough to chew. The markings on the cliff face look like scratches, but the scholar sees language in them. Structure, grammar, even questions. Linta stands watch at the cleft, green eyes hard, frost steaming off her max-chilled body glove. Close enough to Moloch to be called trusted. Boros Dias names it enuncia, a language of pure structure where sound is force. Spoken wrong, it breaks minds. Spoken right, it breaks reality. He begs them not to speak it aloud. Moloch does anyway. He shapes a single enuncia syllable. A servitor's skull bursts like a rotten fruit. Another smashes itself to paste against the wall. Moloch spits a tooth. Blood threads his tongue. The message is clear. This language does not want to be spoken. Any sane man would flee. Moloch orders his camera servitors to record everything, because his enemies are closing in. Because knowledge like this, the kind that changes minds just by touching them, is the kind he lives for, the kind he would sell entire worlds to obtain. The trap. They arrive in silence, precise and merciless. A single bolt round from the shadows kills cleanly. The work of Carl Thonius, Ravenor's interrogator. An aspirant to inquisitor status himself one day, learning at his master's side. Kara Swole comes in low and fast, short, red-haired, a former acrobat whose compact frame moves like a sprung trap, made for close quarters endings. She pins Moloch at the edge of the pillars, las pistol hard against his mouth. For a heartbeat, Moloch is theirs. Then the big gun speaks. The Ogren rakes the pillars. Dust explodes. Kara peels back. The chance is gone. Moloch uses the dust and a gun thunder to slip the line, dives for the cleft and slides into the excavated chamber. The jungle noise dims to fan wine and dripping sap. Boros Dias is there, hands raised, voice shaking. Don't, enuncia. Wait. Moloch doesn't. He wrenches a hand flamer from the xenoarchaeology kit, meant for frying lichen, not men, and washes the doctor mid-sentence. The roar swallows his scream. Relics, warnings, and man alike burn together. Professional arrangement concluded. He doesn't waste the seconds he bought. Yellow fire hisses along the frieze, boiling dust out of the cuts. The sample hammer knocks free thicker crust. He hasn't minutes, maybe heartbeats. So he grabs the portable brass pictor, 2 wide frames, then overlapping close-ups, enough for a noetic rebuild later. Then the device disappears into his body glove. Dias burned for 3 reasons. He would slow the work, he would talk to the first Rosette he saw, and the Cognitai taught Moloch that nothing is forbidden, especially witnesses. Then he turns and runs for the hidden flyer, a nymph Reconkraft under a muck-stained tarp. Linta steps from the tail boom with a snub lass, green eyes hard. Game's over, Moloch. Linta. That name was for you, but from now, Patience Kai's will do. She makes him drop the Tau rifle. Now kill the engines. He reaches into the cockpit, nods like he's obeying, then slams the throttle. The flyer's jet blast hits her like a wall, hurling her into the thick black tube plants, leaves tearing, sap spraying. Moloch drags himself into the seat under lass fire. The nymph lurches up through smoke and greenery. For a heartbeat, he might make it. Bryce, Moloch, I need an extraction corridor. Static, then Bryce comes back with an encrypted rendezvous lock and vector. Moloch keys it in and banks west toward the pickup. Where you going, Zygmunt? A new voice purrs on the Vox. Harlan Nail. You bring a flyer, I bring a gunship. A Valkyrie rises out of the forest like a knife, blacked out, unmarked. The chin turret blinks. The nymph sheds a wing. Rockets stitch the air. The little craft comes apart and scythes into the jungle in burning pieces. Ablaze from head to foot, Moloch is still alive when the wreck hits. We cut forward to the hive of Petropolis on Eustace Majoris. It is not a city that breathes. It coughs. Acid rain eats stone and steel. Faith paper patches mark every face and limb. Gummed squares of hope stuck over burns and ulcers. The air tastes of rust and smoke. Here, Inquisitor Gideon Ravenor is going to work. Once he was a man of flesh who stood in battle beside his peers, interrogator to the legendary Gregor Eisenhorn. That ended in fire. A Chaos Terror strike on Thracian Primaris tore him apart, burned beyond recognition in the line of duty. Now, what remains of him endures inside a hovering armoured life support chair. A machine as much a mobile fortress as life support machine. His charred frame is sealed within, fed by cables and tanks. He cannot walk, cannot move, but he does not need to. His mind reaches farther than any stride could. This is the man who leads the squad. His lander had hissed down hours before, bringing 2 shadows that stayed with him. Zeph, Mathewin, all muscle and quiet eyes, and Weiston Froker, a rare blank, whose presence fizzles out psychic fire. The limiter at his throat muzzles it until he switches it off, and then every nearby psychic force is completely nullified. Behind a blank door in the hive's mid-stacks, he extends his psychic reach across the hive. 1,000 lives answer at once. A clerk counts chits, 3 short, and worries about arrears. A nurse rehearses the crime she'll commit tonight. A body swings on a cord. A child waits for rain to fall so his job is real. Rats chew in the dark. The danger is drowning in the hive's noise. Countless lives at once. Ravenor tightens his focus. He finds his agents glowing like lights in the fog. Carl Thonius, immaculate and composed, tailored coat, neat hair, polished cuffs, a delicate, well-kept face that reads money and schooling. For Thonius, appearance wasn't decoration. It was proof of who he was. Patience kiss, green eyes like cut glass, pale skin and long black hair, posture spare and still, a snub lass steady in careful hands, her psychic power held tight behind her gaze. Kara Swole, short, red-haired, an ex-acrobat packed into a compact frame. She moves low and fast, built for arm's-length endings. And finally, Harlan Nail. You hear the hunter's purr on Vox before you see him. When he arrives, it's quiet boots and heavy hardware. More gun than anyone asked for. The name surfaces. Zale. He's the thread at the bottom of it all. Petropolis is rotting on a new kind of addiction. Flects, grubby shards of glass that don't soothe. They change. People stare, and something stares back. Ravenor's task is simple in wording and savage in practice. Climb the supply chain. Street flects, clan handlers, smugglers, rogue ships, the unseen source. Cut each rung until the ladder falls. Zale's parents died of hivepox. He lives with his grandmother and his older sister Nova. Then the Munitorum closed 2 factories. 19,000 lives ruined overnight. Nova was one of them. The family began to starve. Welfare tokens stretched thin. Grana killed her fear with glue fumes. Zale became a runner for the local gangs, moving parcels from doorway to doorway for a few coins and another look. And Nove found flects, shards of grubby glass wrapped in red tissue. You don't eat them, you look at them. And for a moment the world softens, the angles blur, the pain recedes. Sometimes you see colours that don't belong to this world at all. And sometimes you hear a voice that sounds like yours, but talks from somewhere else. Zale watched her slip away. She urged him to try. Then she fell from 18 stories. The report called it an accident. But Zale knew better. Grief left him hollow. When he finally unfolded the red paper and looked himself, the city changed. Time blurred. Pain dulled. And addiction took root. Not a hunger of the body, but a pull of the mind toward whatever lives behind the glass. By 12 or 14, the years didn't matter anymore. He was running packages full time, paid in glass. His grandmother died choking in her chair. He barely noticed. Then one day he saw the man following him, tall, broad, too clean for the stacks. Zale tried to shake him through alleys, markets, bridges. Failed. In a shadowed underpass, the man pinned him to the wall. "Your dealer," he demanded. Zale bargained, lied, offered other names. Finally he asked, "Who are you?" The reply was calm, absolute. "Call me Ravenor." Elsewhere, as a fresh downpour of acid rain drums on the hive and umbrellas rise like iron flowers. Under a wide blue canopy walks Umberto Sonsol, factory director and pottery collector. His vice, his weakness. Patience Keys intercepts him. She flatters his taste, admires his collection, and lets him feel brilliant. For 5 minutes she speaks his dialect, playing the role he craves. When he invites her to dinner, she accepts. From across the street, Thonius watches, disgusted. "Whore," he mutters. She calls him a coward under her breath. Infiltration is dirty work, but it buys access, and Sonsol's ledgers will tell them more than his mouth ever will. Which shipments are miscoded, which warehouses receive glass that isn't glass, which dockmasters look the other way. With Sonsol in Kais's hands, They'd soon know all. In a diner deep in the Habstacks, Kara Swoley sits across from a man who decides badly. He reaches for a gun. Crossfire tears through tables and walls. Kara flips the counter, pistol drawn. She chases him through kitchens and corridors, finally out into the alleys. She drops him with a bullet to the thigh, but trouble arrives before she can question him. 6 enforcers fan out across the alley, boots scraping on wet stone. The sodium lamps paint them jaundiced. One of them smiles. The leader's chain fist whines as its teeth cycle up, hungry, eager. Kara Swole weighs the space in half a second. No clean exits. No cover worth trusting. Her pistol is gone. She is already bleeding. She touches the pendant at her throat. Number. Not unless. The man she shot in the leg kicks her hard from behind. The impact sends her stumbling forward, off balance. A mallet slams into the ground, where her head had been a moment before. The chain fist screams past her shoulder, shredding a trash crate into ribbons. Kara. Ravenor's voice presses into her mind. Tight, controlled. The distance is too... Do it, she gasps. Now. The pendant burns. Her vision folds inward, collapsing like a fist closing. Thought drains away. Fear, memory, pain, packed down, locked off. Kara Swole vanishes into a dark, sealed place. Her body snaps upright. What stands now still looks like Kara, but it moves wrong. Too efficient, too certain. Momentum bends around it as if physics has been demoted to a suggestion. A mallet comes in from the left. The body turns just enough for it to miss, then drives a heel forward. Bone gives. The man folds, breathless, soundless. A sling blade arcs toward her head. Her hand flicks up, not to catch it, but to strike it aside. The blade spins faster, harder. It buries itself in another enforcer's forehead. He drops without understanding why. The chain fist roars. Kara's body steps inside its arc. Both feet leave the ground. She spins, horizontal, and kicks the wielder full in the face. Teeth scatter. He hits the ground, already unconscious. Another man lunges. Her fingers hook into his mouth, grip the jaw from the inside, and throw him bodily onto his back. Her heel comes down once. His throat collapses. Smoke gushes as the chain fist stutters. Kara's body seizes a broken mallet haft and drives it into the leader's chest with both hands. The mechanism burns out in a scream of tortured metal. Silence crashes down. The body trembles, shudders, drops to its knees. Spotlights blaze on. Magistratum, a voice barks. Hands up, on the ground. Kara's arms rise slowly. Her eyes are empty. Her chest heaves, but not with breath. This is an operation of the Ordo Xenos, she says. The voice is not hers. I am Inquisitor Gideon Ravenor. Think very carefully about what you do next. Rain hisses on stone. Guns lower, just a fraction. The enforcers hesitate, smart enough to know when power speaks, and Kara Swole begins, shakily, to come back. She slumps against the wall, boots sliding on wet stone. Her hands won't stop shaking. Rain slicks her hair to her face, washes blood into the gutter. The alley smells of cordite, hot oil, and burst flesh. Ravenor withdraws carefully, not all at once. He loosens his grip in stages, sealing memory and sensation away before they can tear her open from the inside. Kara retches, gasps, then nods once. She's alive. She's herself. The cost will come later. Sirens rise through the stacks. Boots pound closer. the hive resumes its endless, uncaring motion. Only then does the shape of it become clear. The bodies on the floor belong to a distribution gang. Their dead pockets hold tally chits, route tokens, and a contact code that points up toward handlers behind ferroglass and filters. Cleaner hands. Moloch burns, but is not gone. The cognati always have another door to open, another student to spend. Ravenor leads from his armoured chair, his mind wider than the hive. His purpose is iron. Follow the flects from alley to office to cargo hold to void ship, and then to whatever pit of a world is birthing them. Thonius sharpens under his master's eye. Kiss wears masks within masks. Kara carries the memory of being a puppet, and Zael, a boy with nothing left, stares into glass and feels power he cannot control, and points, trembling, toward the men who pay him. This is not a story about saints. It's about professionals who bleed in the dark to keep worse things from stepping into the light. If they fail, the hive learns to look without seeing. Eyes on the glass, minds turned inward as rot spreads unchecked. If they succeed, the chain breaks, and the hands feeding it will be forced into view. And it's only just begun.